So today we will start the concept on. Yesterday we have left one concept. Okay, let's see. We have discussed about continue statement. This is called a jumping statement, right? So here I am little bit confusing with this example. Can anyone tell me the output for this program? So I have used here continue statement and I am going to print from the numbers 1 to 5. So I am using if condition. If I equal to 1, then I am applying the jumping statement, that is continue, then I am printing the I values. So what output will display if I execute this program? See, I am asking you only, you have to answer me, na? Yes, Lina? 2, 3, 4, 5 will display, or 1, 2, 3, 4 like this it will display? Okay, so only it will display 2, 3, 4, 5. So answer is what? 2, 3, 4, 5 will display. Okay, fine. Now we will move on to next concept, that is a difference between break and continue keywords. So why what are the main difference between these two keywords, that is break and continue? Now you are little bit familiar with these statements. What is the purpose to use break, then what is the purpose to use continue? In general we will talk, if we use a break statement, it will completely stop or terminate the execution, right? If we use a continue keyword, so it will what? It will skip the execution. That is the main difference in general, right? So while writing these in main exam, so we have to consider these points. Break can appear in both switch and loop statements. Break, have you used a break statement in switch case, right? So it can appear in switch statement as well as looping statement. But continue keyword will only appear in looping statement only, not in switch case. Looping purpose only, for while, do while we can use continue keyword. Understood this first difference? Okay, now second difference. Break causes the switch or loop statements to terminate the moment it is executed. Here break statement we are using to terminate the execution part, remaining execution part. Now in continue statement doesn't terminate the loop, it will keeps on executing until the condition will becomes false, right? But it will skip that particular line of code, right? It doesn't terminate the loop, it causes the loop to go to the next iteration. Next iteration means what? Skip that line, then execute the next statement, right? Now in third difference, when it is encountered, it terminates the block and gets the control out of the switch or loop. So it obviously terminates, the control comes out of the loop or switch statement. Here when it is encountered, I mean when you reach in that condition, I mean continue keyword or break keyword, if you reach that keyword, gets the control to the next iteration of the loop, it will not going to stop the execution, it will continue, but it will skip that current execution of the statement. So these all are the difference between continue and break statement, right? Now the next one we have left, that is nested loop statement. Nested means what? Here a loop inside another loop. loop inside another loop, we can call it as nested loop. So here we have a syntax like this. First, for loop. Nested loops means we can use 3 loops, more than 2 loops, right? More than 2 loops. It may be 3, 4 like that, right? Here I am using 2 loops for understanding purpose. So for first initialization, condition, increment or decrement. Then second for loop I am using initialization, condition, decrement. Then statement for this inner loop. Then statement for this outer loop. Here red color I am marked red colors matching these statement with this loop, and green color statement is matching with this for loop, I mean inside the for loop. So this we can call inner for loop, and this we can call, this statement is belongs to outer for loop. Is that clear? Syntax of nested for loop. Now let's see one example. Suppose I want to print a pattern, star pattern like this, right? To print patterns like this, first we have to observe how many rows, how many columns, right? Nested for loop means you can consider it in rows and column wise, right? So here to print a pattern like this, first we have to understand how many rows and how many columns. First we'll see rows. I am going to represent with a variable name I. Then columns I can represent with variable name j. So this one is first for loop and this one is second for loop. J represents in second for loop, I represents in first for loop, right? So first for loop, I mean rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rows are there. Then columns, first column, second, third, fourth and fifth column. So total there are 4 columns, 4 rows, right? Sorry, 5 rows and 5 columns. Understood this pattern? Okay. So now how we will going to print this pattern? Let's see. This is our code, nested for loop I am using here. First for loop, second for loop, then statement, then new line I am taking. Let's see. Trace this for loop. First for loop I am applying, I am declaring here. So this we have already seen variations in for loop. We have discussed this concept, right? Instead of declaring int I in outside, so I am declaring inside the for loop, right? Int I is equal to 1. Initialization of I value is 1. So apply the condition 1 less than or equal to 5. Condition is true. Yes. Then execute the next line. What is the next line? I am using 1 for loop. Initialization of j equal to 1. So 1, j value is 1 less than or equal to, this one is I value, not 1. Huh? Please remember this one is I value. So 1 less than or equal to 1. Condition is what? True. 1. All of you write this, then you can easily trace, because here I am not able to write this on this slide. Okay. So 1 less than or equal to 1. Condition is 2. Condition is what? True. Now execute the next line. What I have written? I am written here to print the star. SOP print what? Star. In first row, first column, I am printing the first star. So it will print in first star, right? Printed. Now after printing this, listen, after printing this, which variable will going to increment? J will increment or I will increment? Now tell me, I or J? Reply fast. See here, j value is 1, I value is 1, so less than or equal to 1. Condition is true. If condition is true, execute this statement. Execute this statement. So already star is executed here. Done. Next is whether j will going to increment or I will increment. This is my question. So can anyone tell me? You know how to, you know, yes, I. Okay, others? See, now we are in this for loop. We have already entered in this for loop. In this for loop, after executing this, j will responsible. J will responsible. Now increment the j value. J value, previous j value is what? 1. After incrementing j value becomes 2. Again check the condition. 2 less than or equal to 1. Condition true or false? Condition true. Who told true? 2 less than or equal to 1. Condition is false. So in this case, controls comes out of this inside the for loop. Control comes out. No need to execute. Is that clear? Now control will come to this line. This line is responsible for what? SOP. Here I am not printing anything. This is nothing but in our Java it is called new line. We are not printing anything, so it is considered as new line. So after executing this star mark, immediately it will move on to next line. Immediately it will cursor move to next line. Are you seeing, all of you? Now you understood this working of for loop. Yes, understood? Others? Reply are Ria, Lina. Lina understood? Ria, Kiran. If I am asking questions, you have to answer me. Don't sit simply, right? If you sit simply, what I think, right? So yes, so now our cursor is here, that is in let me write this. So now our pointer is here in this location, right? Now after executing this, next which variable will increment, I or j? After executing this, which variable will going to increment? I will increment. Now yes, I value becomes now 2. I value becomes 2. Now 2 less than or equal to 5. Here why I have taken 5 here? Can anyone know this idea why I am taken 5? Because we have how many how many rows? 5 rows, so that's why I have taken 5 rows. That's it. Now check the condition. 2 less than or equal to 5. Condition is true. If condition is true, enter into next statement. Next statement I have written for loop, right? Now j value is now what? We don't know j value, but initialization with j value is what? 1. So now j value is 1 less than or equal to what is the I value? What is the I value? Don't know I value? What I have written here? Kiran? Lina? At least message me. What is I value? Now I am hearing your voice. ಇವಾಗ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಯಾಕೆ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಆ ಥರ ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು. No? See, what is the I value now? What is the I value? 2. Here I value is now 2. So J value is now what? J value is how much now? J value is 2. I value is 2. Right. Now J value is how much now? I have written here J value 1. So 1. Only I will increment. Listen, in nested for loop I will increment. Whatever J value is there, it will start from beginning only. Remember this. So now J value is 1. So less than or equal to I value is how much? 2. I value is 2. Right. Now let me check this condition. Condition is true now. 1 less than or equal to 2. Condition is true. So if condition is true, execute the next line. Next line is what? To print the star. In second line, we are in here in this position. So it will going to print the first star. Second row, first column, 1 star is printed. So understand this. I value is 2, J value is 1. So second row, first column, 1 star is printed. Is it clear? Now after printing this, which value will increment? I value or J value? J will increment. Now J value becomes, J's previous value is 1. Now after incrementing J value becomes what? 2. 2 less than or equal to 2. Condition true or false here? True. Now print the 1 star again. So print the star in which position? Second column, second row. Second column, second row. This is second row and this one is second column. So here star will print. So two stars are printed. Right. Now what to do? Again J will increment or I will increment? I. See, we are still in this for loop only. So which variable is j will increment. Now increment the j value becomes now 3. 3 less than or equal to 2. Condition is false. If condition is false, comes out of this loop. Now we are here. So this line is used for what? To take the new line. Now we have printed 2 stars in the second row. Then we will move on to third row. Right? After printing this new line, now what will happen? I value will increment. What is the I value now? I value is 3. I value becomes 3. So 3 less than or equal to 5. 3 less than or equal to 5. Condition is true. True or false? True. Now enter into this loop. Here j value becomes now what? J value, I am not getting j value here. So what is the j value? J value, Kiran, what is the j value? 1. Because initialization of j is what? Now 1. Again it will start from first column. Yes, first column. Now I value is equal, I value is what now? 3. I value is 3. So 1 less than or equal to 3. Condition is true. Then execute this star. In which position? Third row, first column. Third row, first column. It will going to print star here. In third row, first column. So it will print the star. Now increment the which value, I or j? So now j. Now j value becomes 2. So 2 less than or equal to 3. Condition is true. Execute this line. This line is means what? Print the star. Again second star is printed. Now after printing this star, which value will increment again? J value, right? Which value will increment? J. Now j value is what? 3 less than or equal to 3. Condition is true. If condition is true, execute this line. So again 1 star is printed in third row. Printed. Now after printing third star in third row, third column, which variable will increment? J. Now j value becomes what? 4. See, 4 less than or equal to 3. Condition true or false? Condition is false. Then now execute the next line. Next line is what? To print the new line. So after executing this star, control comes out of this line and it will ready to print another stars on next line. Right? After printing this, now I value becomes what? I value becomes 4. 4 less than 5. Condition is true. Now j value is again 1 less than, I value is what? 4. 1 less than 4. Here until this condition becomes false. So total 4 star will going to execute in this line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? After printing this, again new line will going to print. So control comes out of this loop and execute for new line. Then again increment the I value. Now I value becomes 5 less than or equal to 5. Then it will print here total 5 stars. So after printing this, now this first for loop I value becomes false. At that time it will comes out of all these loops. No need to execute. So we will get the results like this. To print the pattern like this. Is that clear? Okay. This is about example of nested for loop. right? So now we will move on to next concept here. Unfortunately, you have first module in your Java. It is a big concept. They have introduced from beginning, so that's why we are seeing the from beginning concepts. So we have already discussed this Java programming fundamentals concept, right? Now we have also discussed data types and operators from your first module, and also we have discussed the program control statements, if else, while, do while, for, right? So now we have completed total 3 sub concepts from your first module. Still 2 concepts are remaining. Okay, in that today we will discuss, that is 4th concept. Today we will discuss the 4th concept, that is introducing classes, objects and methods. So this one is whatever you have studied the previous examples, those all are basic programs, totally basic programs. Now Java programming real Java programming will start from this slide. Okay, here we are going to learn class fundamentals, how objects are created, reference variable and how you are assigning those reference variables, then what are the methods, how we will going to return from a method, then what is the use of return statement or returning a value, then parameters, constructors, then parameterized constructors, then understanding the new operator, then garbage collections, then this keyword. Last we will going to study this keyword, right? Today we will going to start a class fundamentals. See, before going to study the class, first we have to understand the basic concept. In general I am telling, right? So this is a 3D view of home. In this 3D view we have the home pictures. So main this is our main gate, right? And this one is hall, then these all are separate rooms, bedroom, kitchens, right? So this is look like class. This is look like what? Class, right? Overall this we can consider in our Java terminology, I can name it is a class, right? In this home we have different kinds of rooms, right? Hall is a room, bedroom, then kitchen, right? So these dining room, so these all are what? Different kinds of rooms inside the main house, right? So inside the main house, these we can call methods. These we can call what? Methods. Are you understanding? Class and methods. Methods are inside the class. Methods are nothing but different kinds of rooms. Class is our main home. Class is what? Our main home. We can call it as a class, and different types of rooms we can call it as methods. It may be different methods, right? Different rooms, different methods. So this is a general idea about class and methods. Now one more concept. So one home can have multiple floors. One home can have multiple floors. Ground floor, first floor, second floor, right? Similarly, one class can have multiple classes. One class can have multiple classes. How one home has multiple homes, floors? Same way we can say one class has contain many classes. One class can contain many classes. So this is about a general idea about class and methods, right? So further we will study in deep class. So before going to study the classes, one more point you have to remember, write this in your notebook. here I am defining what int MCA. I am assigning one number value, that is 1. Then I am also declaring one string data type. Then AITM I am assigning here. Then I am printing these values with the help of SOP instead of using plus operator here. Instead of using plus operator, directly I am accessing these variable names MCA, then name I am printing. So this output will produce what? 1 and AITM. So this is another method to print the value from variable. You just use in SOP without using double quotes, you just use the variable name. Variable name I have used MCA and name. So I am going to print MCA and name. This is another kind of printf statement in Java, right? Understood this? You have already learned one printing statement, that is within double quotes you have write something, then after you use a plus operator, then followed by variable name. Instead of writing that kind of statement, directly we can print with the help of variable name. I hope you understood this concept. Now today we will start the discussion about class fundamentals. So what do you mean by class? Class is a template. Class is a template that defines the form of an object. It specifies both data and code that will operate on that data. So class is basically, it is a template. It defines the object. Then class will going to specify data. What kind of data? What are the methods you are using? What are the constructors you are using? So that we can call data, and followed by code. Code may be expression, it may be printing statement, that we can call code, right? So data and code, both it will going to operate, that will hold which one? Class, main class. So class is basically a template that defines the form of an object. It specifies both data and code, right? So now Java uses a class specification to construct objects. Java uses a class for what? To construct an object. Objects are instances of class. Thus class is essentially a set of flags that specify how to build an object. So you don't bother about these lines, you just understand class is a template, it defines an object. Okay, let's see in further details about object. Class is a logical abstraction. We can also call class is an logical abstraction, not physical abstraction, logical abstraction. Methods and variables, listen, methods and variables that comprise a class are called members of the class. So in previous examples we have seen int, MCA, then string name, right? These all are variables. These variables are members of the class. These all are variables, but these all are members of the what? Class. Class you have given name, MCA or AITM. In previous examples we have given like that, right? The data members associated with an instance of class are also referred to as instance variable. So in C programming you have two types of variables, local variable, another one is global variable. With the help of global variable we can access those variables throughout our program. I mean different kinds of functions also we can access. In here in Java we have these kind of variables, that is instance variables, local variables and static variables. Three kinds of variables we have in Java. So these data members we can call as instance variable. When we call instance variable, after defining your class, then what you are going to declare, those variables we can call instance variable. Let's see in our examples. So now in theory exam you can write the definition for this. Class is a template that defines the form of an object what we have discussed. Okay, and class is a non-primitive data type. Have you remembered data types, different types of data types, primitive data types and non-primitive data types. So primitive data types, int, float, char, double, it will come. In non-primitive data types it will come classes, list and arrays, right? So here we are discussing classes. So class is non-primitive, or we can call user defined data type, because class name, who will give a class name? You are a programmers, right? You will going to give the class name. So it is called user defined data type. We can create a class in a Java using the class keyword. How are we going to create a class? With the help of class keyword, class keyword, right? So a definition of class, you have to write these points, 3 points you have to write, right? Are you understanding or not? Okay. Okay, fine. Now, every object is an instance of class. Every object is an instance of class. It means you have already aware about a scanner class, right? Scanner class. In scanner class, what you have done? Scanner followed by name, then followed by new scanner you have used, right? Suppose scanner MCA is equal to new scanner, like that you have written. That we can call, we are using a new keyword here, right? So that is called instance of object, instance of class. That we can call instance of class. The class can contain one or more classes, like I have shown the home pictures, right? So one home can have many floors, ground floor, first floor, second floor, right? Similarly, class can contain one or more classes, that left to the programmer. This concept can be called nested class. Inside the class we can call nested class. We can assign in our class precede keywords, that is prefix. You can either use public or abstract and final modifier. So we will see how class will going to work with the help of this public, abstract and final modifier. We can assign the other modifiers also, like private class, like protected class, like static class. So these all are also modifiers we can assign in our class. We have already know how to create class, right? With the help of class keyword, then followed by name. I already told in beginning of your Java program, right? We are discussing that concept only. Class can contain these fields or variables. You can call these all are also variables. Then class can contain methods, class can contain constructors, class can contain blocks, and also nested class and interface. So class can contain these fields, methods, variables, constructors and nested class. Now object definition. So we are talking about object repeatedly in previous slides. So what do you mean by that object? An object is an instance of class. What you are creating with the help of class name, you are going to create an object with the help of class name only, right? For example, class AITM, if you write, then how you are going to create instance of an object? Class name, what we have given, AITM, then here you have to give reference name, that is MCA is equal to new. With the help of new keyword you have to write AITM, new AITM. This is what you can call instance of a class. I will tell you later while displaying the program, right? And it has state and behavior. Object has two things, one is state and behavior. Now instance variable in Java. A variable, I am talking about instance variable, right? So like local variables, then global variables, I think, right? If you have compatible with the C language, you should know these local variables and global variables. But in our Java, we will discuss about instance variable. This a variable which is created inside the class but outside the method is known as instance variable. Inside the class but outside the method. If you are using any methods or any functions outside these functions or methods, if we declare any variables, that variable we can call instance variable. And instance variable doesn't get memory at compile time. When it will get the memory? After executing it will get the memory with the help of object or instance. That is why it is known as an instance variable. Why you can call it as instance variable? Because it will going to get a memory with the help of an object or instance, right? So that's why we can call these variables as instance variable. Let's see one example. Now all of you concentrate here. What we have discussed, this one is important for understanding purpose. First, I am writing class MCA. Class name is MCA. Then followed by I will write variables. These variables I can call instance variable. See, variable which is created inside the class. I mean class MCA I have created inside this class but outside the method. Method means here which method we are using? Main method we are using. So outside the main method or outside the method inside the class, these whatever you are using these variables we can call instance variable. First point, it is called what? Instance variable. All of you write on this slide. Generally you have to write class name. You can define any variables, int id, string name. This name it as instance variable. Then you have to write public static void main, right? This is a method. Which method? Main method, right? Not only main method, but we have different kinds of methods. Okay. Now another point. Now defining class. How we are going to define a class? I mean how to write a program. See, first I am going to write a class is a keyword. Class is a, all of you listen this example carefully because this one is very important. Class, keyword, then I can give class name, any name I can give. AITM I have given. Now I am going to create instance variable, or we can call data members like int roll number. It is called instance variable inside the class, outside the method. Now after I am using a main method, that is public static void main string arguments, then here I am going to create an object or instance. Please all of you understand this line. Here I am going to create an object, or we can call instance. How I am going to create an object? Very simple. What we have given a class name? What is the class name? AITM. Yes, remember if you are while creating object or instance, first we will use our class name. Which class name? Where main method is there. Remember, where main method is there, you have to consider that class name. Class can contain multiple classes, but while creating an object, consider where you have written main method in which class. That class name you have to take. Here I am taking my class name is AITM. A class name followed by reference variable S1. We can call it as reference variable. All of you write on. S1 is a reference variable. You can give any name. S1, whatever you want, you can give. Followed by new operator or new keyword is equal to new. Then you have given AITM. So class name you have to give again AITM. Then give the brackets. This is called object or instance of the class. Object or instance of the class. So class name is AITM. So you have to give AITM, that is a class name, followed by any name equal to new. Then you have to give class name. Then close the bracket. So it is called, understood this, creating an object. Fine. Now all of you writing these lines, right? Because this concept is very important. Now next I want to access this member through the reference variable. Accessing members. So members means what here? What we can call members? What you are declaring instance variables. Instance variable we can call members. We can call it as members of the class, right? So accessing those member through reference variable. What is the reference variable here? I have created an object. What is the reference variable? S1. Yes, S1 is my reference variable. With the help of that reference variable, we can access the data members, right? How? With the help of dot operator. S1 reference variable followed by dot operator followed by data member variable name. These all are data member or variable, instance variable. Here which variable we have assigned, that variable we have to take. S1 dot roll number with the help of dot operator. Is it clear? So this is a passion to write Java program. Now from today onwards your Java program will start differently. Okay, fine. Now let's see again. Still I have confused to write these boxes. So what should I write here? Consider this example. Int MCA is equal to 120. So what can I name? What we can name for this line? Can anyone tell me? Yes, data members or instance variables. Fine. Now in main method I am going to create something. So what we can call this? I am using class name AITM. S1 is equal to new AITM. So what we can call this? What we can call? Yes, creating an object or instance. Fine. Now printing the values of the object, right? So I am printing now. SOP println. Yes, to print what? Print 120 I am going to print. 120 I am going to print. So how should I print? How I am going to print, right? See, this is called printing the values of the object, right? Now what we can call this? S1 dot MCA. What we can call? What we can call this? S1 dot MCA. Yes, reference accessing the data members through reference variable. Right. Now, with the help of dot operator, I am going to use. Right. So S1 is my object name, or sorry, reference variable, followed by dot, followed by variable name, that is MCA. Just I am printing 120. Right. Now here one more point again. This is for example, class MCA int USN 123, and this is another class name is AITM. Right, then public static void main MCA S1 is equal to new MCA. Right, now I am printing this name SOP, then with the help of S1 operator, sorry, S1 reference variable, then creating an object for this, then with the help of dot operator I am using to print my USN, accessing a member through reference variable with dot operator, with dot operator. Is that clear? All of you understood this class name? Okay, fine. Now in afternoon we will going to discuss further details regarding this class. Now time is up, so today evening I will send the seminar topic list. So with the help of that timetable we will follow, and Monday we will start the Java topic seminars. And remember, okay, time is off, you can leave now. Okay, bye. Disconnect all of you.